So I have to do some reviews in the car today because it's a late day and I just have no other way. And I want to get something up, you know, because it's new comic book day. Probably have Spider-Geddon up later. But I wanted to read this one first because have been enjoying this Nightwing run. It's different. And I don't know, it's grown on me. It's got a whole new premise. Like, Nightwing has been stale for a long time. At least since I was really enjoying when it was Grayson and he was like a spy. They were kind of going with that angle on it, if you remember that. But ever since Rebirth, I feel like Nightwing's been kind of stale. Well, not Rebirth, but the New 52. Other than the Grayson stuff, like, just feels like it's lost its way a little bit. I don't know. This run, though, it's been fun. It's different. Like, some people have been comparing it to, like, Nightfall, like Batman's Nightfall. Like, they say that this is Dick Grayson's Nightfall, and I kind of agree. It's cool. Like, it's an interesting premise. So, like, he got shot in the head, doesn't remember hardly anything, is pretty much, like, running on automatic. He's calling himself Rick Grayson now because he is kind of a totally new person. And these cops, they found like an old bunker of his and all of his costumes. And they're like, well, Nightwing's dead. Bloodhaven's kind of fallen to crap. Why don't we just pick up the pieces and, you know, we'll just be a team of Nightwings, basically. And that's what it is. Like, it's an interesting idea. So it'll be interesting to see, like, you know, if this is going to motivate him to want to reclaim his mantle. It'll be interesting to see how this plays out. I'm generally, like, interested in where the story is going to go. And that's, I got to tell you, there's not very many comics where I pick them up and I'm like, you know, I actually care and want to know what's going to happen in this story. It's really strange. Like, I can only think of a few books where I've wanted to know that. Most recent one was Shattered Grid from the Power Rangers. And now, like, this book, I generally want to know what's going to happen next after I read it. And that's fun when you find a book like that, man. That's exciting. So, like, I think this and, like, Immortal Hulk right now are, I say Venom, too. Like, Venom, I generally buy it and know I'm going to enjoy it a lot. But as far as, like, what's going to happen next, I'm like, you know. And I'm not saying that it's a bad book. It's a great book. But, like, I'm not engrossed in the story like I am with this or with Hulk right now. This one, though, I think is quickly becoming one of my favorites. I think this is probably like my favorite comic right now. Isn't that crazy? Nightwing. I dropped this from my pull list. I'm gonna put it back on, I think, finally. Art's really good. Story's really good. Opens up with him. Like, if you remember in the last issue, you'll see here, he's looking down on this dude. Well, he did that to him, and they show you a little bit of a recap. This guy was mugging a Dick, and he went into like an automatic reflex. Now, when you're highly trained, you just kind of move that way. I don't know how to explain it unless you, you know, have a really good skill in something. You know what I'm saying? Especially if you've done martial arts for a long time or any kind of like fighting style. If you're highly trained in something, you kind of just kick into gear. If you've ever done that, I know you know what I'm talking about. And that's what happens here, even though he doesn't remember being Nightwing, really. For some reason, he only remembers the circus. He has, like, bits and pieces of stuff here and there. They do an interesting thing where they show him having nightmares. And, like, it was a nightmare of him and Barbara Gordon fighting somebody. And, like, neither of them had faces. It was really cool. Like, this has been a really good book. I can't explain it enough. But, like, you see here, like, you get to see it again. He's falling down this building, and you see him just kind of go into Nightwing mode, and he's still kind of clumsy. They're obviously setting something up with Scarecrow. You see here, there's a dead body. This is like Nightwing's Jim Gordon, basically. And this is really cool. They're doing the autopsy, and gas comes out of him and drives everybody crazy. I thought this was really cool. She's talking on the phone, and she starts getting shot at. Speaking of bad comics real quick. That's right. He's lost his memory. He's lost his kingdom. Can he find the hero within? If you don't like my politics, don't buy my books. This will be one to get. I don't want to show too much. I just want to go over it. Like, I just like I like this, him finding himself. It's a really good take on the character, almost like a refreshing take, you know. As long as they keep doing a good job with it, I think I'm gonna keep reading it. But this book is pretty much kind of finally setting up the Nightwings. We get to see them in the end here. He was actually running into his buddy is kind of kidnapped. You see here, he's trying to go save his cabbie buddy, and at the end, this guy shows up. He's like, leave it to the authorities. And you officially get to see them doing it. They are all police officers, which is an interesting take. I'm really interested to see how this goes and how this plays with Dick Grayson. I think this is setting up a pretty solid story, so I'm in. They got Percy and some other people writing it, so it's an interesting idea. So they're really like developing this story out. I like it, and I'm gonna stick with it. So anyway, that's pretty much it. Let me know in the comments what you think about this book. Also, like and subscribe. Check out the links. Also, find me over on Stream Me, Son of the Real Yellow Flash. That's where I'll be doing my streams. And check out my Patreon. That's pretty much it. Check this book out. I think this is the 3rd issue on the new run. If you can find them, go back and get them. They've all been really good. I give this this is like a 4 out of 5 so far. So yeah, check it out. I've been liking it. Peace.